Hi everyone, thank you for taking time to watch this video. My name is Mark Fraser, I'm the Vicar of St Luke's, and it's my privilege to introduce our short time together now. I'm standing here at St Luke's in a place where 20 to 25 years ago many people, worshippers in this church, gave generously to completely rebuild and extend this place. They had a vision, you had a vision, for this to be a house of worship where people would come week by week, day by day, and encounter God's transforming presence. You had a vision that this could be a base for all kinds of ministry, reaching out to serve the community and his people with love. You had a vision for this to be a space to welcome people, to share in all the good things that God has given us. And over the years, thousands of people have passed through this place because of your generosity. Hundreds have encountered and felt the touch of God's presence and his power at work within them. And many have committed their lives to Christ, becoming Christians for the first time or a new, deeper level of commitment. And you may be amongst those people yourself. We're producing this video at this time because this is a season of review. It's also a season of gratitude where we reflect together on God's goodness to us and think about our response. We take time to review our time. Perhaps this is a season where we each need to think, how do we use our time in God's service? And is there something new God is calling us to? Or is God calling us and encouraging us to continue to be faithful in all the ways that we're using our time for him already? Maybe it's about particular gifts we have, and for some God might be saying, I've given you this gift, now's the time to use it. For others it may be a sense of celebrating how God has used the gift and is continuing to use the gifts that he's given you, and you're giving thanks to him as you've seen him at work in you. But we also take time to review our financial response to the vision that we have in this place, to be a church that grows to give itself away, to make disciples who make disciples, who are passionate about sharing the good news of Jesus. In Paul's letter to the Corinthians that we've been looking at together recently, Paul says to the Corinthians, you excel in so many ways. And St Luke's, I want to say, you excel in so many ways. There are so many signs of God's goodness amongst you. And Catherine and I and the family, we're so grateful for the incredible ways that you've shown generosity to us as a family over the years. And we so love seeing the way that you are generous to others as well. It's just simply a time to say to one another, as Paul said 2,000 years ago, let's continue to excel and grow in this grace of giving. Because the truth is, we can never outgive God. He always has more for us to enjoy and to share and to pass on.
Hello everyone, my name is Cary Bourque and I'm the treasurer here at St Luke's. I'd just like to take a few minutes to run through our finances and introduce our challenge. Before I do that, I just want to say what a privilege it is to serve in this way and how impressed and humbled I am by the acts of service and giving I see all around me. As the PCC will confirm, it's always hard to try and balance our finances. Each year I warn that we are going to spend more than our income, and each year unexpected acts of generosity or other windfalls seem to cover the deficit. It's amazing. You are truly amazing. I think it's an understatement to say it's an unusual time, and the numbers do reflect that. Having said that, I think they provide useful context. You'll see that we expect income of just over 235,000, and around 90% of this income comes from you through planned and other giving. Other income is around £15,000, which is about half the normal levels due to lost rental income. The most remarkable number is the £25,000 of one-off gifts. Outside the giving days, this is the highest value I have seen whilst I have been treasurer. It's more than offset the loss of rental income from the closure of the building, and is expected to turn a deficit this year into a small surplus. Again, a remarkable blessing. If we now look at our costs, you will see that we are spending just under £230,000, and around 85% of these costs are largely fixed in nature. About 50% of our spend goes towards diocesan costs. This includes clergy salaries, accommodation, and other mission and administration throughout the diocese. Around 30% goes on our own staffing and running our building. Finally, around 15% goes on mission, and this includes around 10% given to our mission partners. The partners are a collection of local and international agencies that we are privileged to support. It's probably worth remembering that in this unusual year, our staffing and running costs are much lower than normal. We have saved money by not replacing our youth worker, by seeking support under the government's furlough scheme, and finally, by effectively mothballing our building. These are all costs that will be expected to return at some point. A few years ago, we had to step out in faith to invest in our vision. Today, we are at the same place. Even before the pandemic, our planned giving and rental income did not cover our outgoings. As I look to 2021 and beyond, I can tell you that nothing has fundamentally changed. As an accountant, I find it a challenge to recommend to the PCC to continue spending as we do when we have to rely on one-off gifts to help pay for it. For me, it's a bit like paying your mortgage from bonuses and overtime rather than your regular pay. That is why I'm talking to you today. To continue all that St. Luke's does and want to continue to do, we need to balance our books. To do that confidently, it's easier to rely on regular and predictable income rather than the one-off generosity, as welcome as it is. If we assume that there would be much lower one-off giving next year, then our expectation is to fall short by around £25,000. As you will see and hear later, our ask of you is to cover the anticipated annual shortfall of £25,000 through increased regular giving. This will allow the PCC to continue the work started and the work we've all been praying for.
The generosity of members of St. Luke's in terms of your time, your talents and your financial gifts has resourced ministry which has transformed lives. We want to encourage people to carry on responding to St. Paul's invitation to excel in the grace of giving and help us continue implementing our vision. There are a number of ways you can give to the work of St. Luke's. They can all be found on our website. Log on and you will find it is very easy. The best way to support us is to become a regular giver. You can do this by setting up a monthly standing order. All the usual information you need, such as an account number and sort code, are there. If you're already a regular giver, please take this opportunity to review the amount you give. If you would normally put your offering in the bag at church and can't at the moment, or if you want to make a one-off gift, using our online giving system is probably the best option for you. There are also details of other schemes you can give to on our webpage. Lastly, but importantly, if you are a taxpayer, make sure you optimise your giving by using gift aid. This adds 25% to your gift. It costs you nothing, but St. Luke's benefits. You can fill the relevant form out online and return it to the church office. To really help us, we would appreciate it if you would return a promise form to the church, either electronically or by posting it to us directly. Thank you so much.
Having had the privilege of being a member of St. Luke's for over 32 years, I've seen crucial times when there has been a need. And the first one that I can recall was the first stage of the development of the building, as it is now, when there was a real capital cost and people were asked to make a contribution. Monica and I have been blessed by secure finances at that time, and we gave to that and experienced real joy in then seeing the result of that first stage. And then the second stage, the more important stage, when the development of the entrance, the hall, prayer room, so much more. Again, an appeal for capital cost, contributions were made, and again, a real joy. And every time I pass the building, in fact, I think, praise God for what you've done. That really is a joyful thing. And as we've given, He has always been faithful and provided for our needs. So yes, I do really experience joy in giving.
I recently had an experience of wondering whether I should give some money to a group of people who seemed like they were in need. But the British side of my character was absolutely horrified at the idea. I thought, what if they're embarrassed? I'm going to be really embarrassed. What if they get annoyed at the giving? Should I just give a bit of money to the Red Cross? Wouldn't that be easier? But God kept nudging at me, and against all my cultural instincts, I took the plunge, and it definitely brought joy in the end. So it turned out God was right rather than me.
When I think of an act of great generosity, I think of my friend's father, Pip Burley, who'd entered the ministry in later life and moved to Worksall, North Notts. When he learnt that I'd applied to go to Cliff College, a Bible college in Derbyshire, he gave me £100 towards my fees. That is the equivalent of £1,049 today. That money enabled me to go to Cliff in September of 1974. It was a great year, living in a community of 90 students, learning about the Christian faith and going on mission to various parts of the country. Oh, of course, I met and fell in love with Christine, who I married a year later, some 44 years ago.
Thank you for taking this time to watch this video as an expression of your belonging and commitment to the family here at St Luke's. In the overflow of our building is that fantastic painting. I wonder if you've noticed it. With the words, "Where the river flows, everything shall live." It's an incredible promise of God's life being poured out and transforming a desert, going further and further and further, getting deeper and deeper and deeper, transforming our whole landscape with His goodness. And that's what we long to see more and more of. That's what I long for you to have the joy and privilege of being part of. That's what I want to join in with too. So let's continue in our life together to be people of gratitude, thanking God for everything He's given and responding with generosity, giving back to Him. Because He's a God who multiplies all that we can offer to do more than we can ever ask or imagine. Thank you for being part of this church family. Thank you for being companions on the journey. I'm so excited about what God has in store